Hello guys, welcome back to my After Effects tutorial channel. This is Rhandz from Rhandz Graphix, and in this tutorial we will be creating this. Okay, let's start by creating a new composition, and I will name it placeholder 1. I'm using 4K 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second and 5 seconds duration. Click OK. Then I will open my project assets, go to my image, drop this image down into my timeline. I'll just move this a bit up like that, then I will close it again and go to composition, create a new composition. I name it unfold 1. 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second and 5 seconds duration. Click OK. I will right away go to layer, create a solid. I'm using a white solid color, 1280 by 1080p. Click OK. Transfer this anchor point on this side. I'm using a script called move anchor point, which I provided a link in the description below. It is a free script that you can download, and then I will enable the 3D layer in here. Go to view, check this show rollers, then make a guide like this. Zoom it. I just want it flush to my canvas like that. And then move this shape on that corner. Make sure that you go to view and check the snap to guides. Create a new guide here at the bottom and zoom it again to make sure it's in the right position. Click R on my keyboard for the rotation. Make sure that the playhead is at the beginning of the timeline. I will change the Y rotation to -125. Then hit the stopwatch in here to create a keyframe. Then move your playhead to about 10 frames and then make this value 0. Press and hold your keyboard Alt to create an expression. I will just copy this expression. Don't worry guys, I will include this into my project file. Just paste it in here. Press Ctrl D to duplicate it. Then move your playhead to about 3 frames and press open bracket key to move that layer. Press P on my keyboard, move my playhead here, then I will just move this on the other side. Again guys, I'm gonna zoom it again because we have to make sure that there will be no gaps to each other. Duplicate this for the 3rd time, then I will go my playhead to about 6 frames. Press open bracket key to move that layer. Move my playhead here and I will press P on my keyboard for the position and move it on the right side. I think that should be good enough. Duplicate this one, Ctrl D, and move the anchor point on top of the shape. I will press P on my keyboard for the position. I will just move it down. Again, I will zoom it up. Move my playhead to about 9 frames. Highlight this layer. Press open bracket key to move that layer. Then press R for the rotation and move your playhead to 1 second and 10 frames. Delete this Y rotation keyframes. The expression, delete it. Move back your playhead to about 6 frames. Create a keyframe on the X rotation. Change the value here to 90. Then press your keyboard page down 9 times. Then change the value here to 0. Create an expression here. Paste the expression here. Move back your playhead to about the 6 frame duration. Press page down 3 times and then move the layer on that duration by pressing your keyboard open bracket key. Press my keyboard Control D to duplicate it. Move this anchor point on the right side position. Okay, so I will just press in here, then press P on my keyboard for the position and drag it on the left side. I will move my playhead a bit so I can see better. Move my playhead back to 12 frames, highlight this layer, press my keyboard open bracket key to move that layer. Click R on your keyboard for the rotation, move your playhead at the 1 second duration, delete this rotation and also the expression. Then go back your playhead to about 12 frames, create a keyframe on the Y rotation, change the value here to 125. Then move your playhead to about 20 frames, change this value to 0. Hit the stopwatch in here while pressing and hold Alt to create an expression and paste the expression. Then I will again press Ctrl D to duplicate it and move my playhead to about 15 frames. Then press open bracket key to move that layer. I will press P on my keyboard for the position and move my playhead forward so I can see. Then move this shape on the left side. So now I will go to layer, create a new null object. I will enable the 3D layer on the null object. I will highlight this white solid and parent it to the bottom white solid. Do the same procedure to all the white solids. There you go. So now I will drop down this placeholder one into my timeline, then grab my shape tool, double click it, create a mask. Then I will go to my effects and preset, go to generate. I will add a fill on it, change the color to white, click OK, and make sure that your playhead is at the beginning of your timeline and create a keyframe on the opacity. Change the value here to 80% and then move your playhead to 10 frames and change the value here to 0. Press your keyboard Alt and hold it to create an expression and click the stopwatch on the opacity. Then I will go to my notepad. I will copy this expression and paste it. Then go back to your effects and control and make sure that all mask is checked. Then close it. Change the track matte to alpha matte. Then I will parent this placeholder one to the null object. Press your keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. I will change this to no track matte. Then highlight these two compositions. Press U on my keyboard to see the keyframes. Move my playhead at the beginning of the white solid keyframe. Then I will highlight these placeholder keyframes. Move it on that duration so that it will be flush on my white solid. Change the track matte to alpha matte. So now when we scrub our playhead, boom, it's already there. So all I have to do is to highlight the placeholder and Ctrl D to duplicate it again. Make it no track matte. I will highlight these two compositions. Press U on my keyboard to see the keyframes. Move my playhead back. Highlight these placeholder keyframes and move my keyframes so it's flush on the other white solid keyframes. Again, Ctrl D to duplicate it and put it up. I will make the track matte here again alpha matte. I will highlight these two compositions. Press U on my keyboard to see the keyframes. Move my playhead here and highlight these keyframes and move my placeholder keyframes on that duration. Then I will go back to my track matte, change the track matte to alpha matte. Press keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Change the track matte to no track matte. Highlight these two compositions. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. Move the keyframes here. Highlight these placeholder keyframes and move it on that duration. Then change the track matte here to alpha matte again. Ctrl D to duplicate it. Change this to no track matte. Highlight the two compositions. Press U on your keyboard to see the keyframes. Move back your playhead and highlight these keyframes. Move it on that duration. Then go back to your track matte and make it alpha matte. So when we preview this one, this is what we got, right? I will switch its modes in here, turn on the motion blur. Then I will highlight all these compositions, right click my mouse and pre-compose it. I will name it transition 1. Move all the attributes into the new composition. I will click OK. Drop my placeholder here. I will highlight both compositions and press T on my keyboard for the opacity, and make sure that your play is at 1 second and 10 frames. Create a keyframe on the opacity. Then make this opacity on the placeholder 0, 2 seconds and 10 frames, and then make this placeholder value 100%, and the transition make this 0%. Go to view and clear the guides. I'll just delete this one because I'm not using it. Now grab your text tool and type unfold. I'm using Perolin font, regular, and the distance in between letters is 750, and drag it on the right side. Then again, I will grab my text tool and type Slideshow. I will use the same font, change the font here to 60. The distance in between letters is 750, drag it just below the unfold. Like that. Then I will highlight the unfold and go to effects and preset, go to transition, Venetian lines. Move back my playhead to about 20 frames. Hit the stopwatch in here to create a keyframe and change the value to about 100%. Move my playhead forward to about 1 second and 20 frames. Then I will change the transition completion to 0. I will also highlight this slideshow and go to my effects and preset. I will apply the slow fade on effect on that layer. I will highlight again this one and press on my keyboard to see the keyframes. We're all good. Yeah. Close these ones and highlight both of them and pre-compose it. I will name it text 1. Move all the attributes into the new composition, click OK. Then I will go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it transition 2. 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second, and the duration, I want it 5 seconds. Click OK. Now go to layer, create a new solid, and I will change the width here to 768, and the height, I will change this to 4000, and the color of the solid is white. Click OK. I will enable the 3D layer, press on my keyboard R for the rotation. I will make sure that the plate is at the beginning of the timeline and create a keyframe on the Y rotation. Change the value here to -125. Then move your playhead to about 10 frames and change the value here to 0. Then I will press on my keyboard Alt and hold it. Hit this stopwatch button on the Y rotation to create an expression. Then I will open this notepad. I have here my rotation bounds, which I included it into my profile so that you can also use it. Right click my mouse and copy it. Then I will paste it in here. I will scrub my playhead to see. Yeah, this is what we want. So all I have to do is to close this and highlight again this layer. Ctrl D to duplicate it 4 times. And then I will highlight all these layers. Press P on my keyboard for position. Then one by one I will position it. So I will start by highlighting this second white solid. Drag it on the left side. So be sure that there will be no gap in between the shapes. This one here. This one I will drag it on the right side. Parent this white solid one to its white solid below it, so to create a chain reaction. Then I will go to my project panel and highlight this placeholder 2, drop it down into my timeline, enable the 3D layer, grab the shape tool, double click my mouse to create a mask, and go to effects and preset, generate. I will just add fill on it, and I want this fill white color. Check all the masks and move your playhead at the beginning of your timeline. Create a keyframe on the opacity and change this to 80%. Then move your playhead to about 10 frames. Change the opacity to 0%. Press your keyboard Alt and hold it and hit this stopwatch again to create an expression. Then go to your notepad, copy this opacity bounds. Then paste it in here. Then I will press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it 4 times. Then I will drag these placeholders to its corresponding above white solid. I will highlight this placeholder and change the track matte to alpha matte. Do this to all the placeholders. So now I will go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it unfold 2. The size would be 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second, and the duration I want it changed to 5 seconds. Click OK, and I will open my project panel and drop down this transition 2 into my timeline. I will also go back to my transition 2 and toggle switches modes in here, enable the motion blur in here. Then go back to unfold 2, again toggle switches modes in here, motion blur enable. Go to scene 1 folder, open it up and highlight this text one, duplicate it and double click your mouse to open it up. Highlight this unfold, double click my mouse to change the text. I will change this to Rhandz Graphix. And I will just change the space in between letters to 200 and change also the font here to 72 pixels. Then I will highlight this slideshow, double click my mouse to change the text. I will change this to creation. So here I'm using both Parolin font and regular. So I will just move my playhead forward to see the text clearly. There you go. So now I will go to unfold again and drop down this text 2 into my timeline. So now I will go to my project panel and create a new folder. I will name it scene 2. Highlight these compositions, drag it into my scene 2 folder, also the placeholder 2. Then I will go to composition and create a new composition. I will name it main. 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second, and the duration is 10 seconds. Click OK. Then I will open this scene 1 folder and drop down into my timeline the unfold 1. Open the scene 2 folder and the unfold 2, I will drop it down into my timeline just above the unfold 1 and move my playhead to about 5 seconds. Press open bracket key to move the unfold 2 layer. Then I will go back to my assets folder, open the footage and drop this footage down into my timeline. I will highlight the particles, right click my mouse, go to transform and I will just fit to comp. Then highlight these 2 layers and make the blending mode add. I will press T on my keyboard for the opacity, change the opacity on the particles, probably 30%. And the opacity on the light leak, change this to 50%. Then I will go to my layer and create a new solid. Still the same comp size and I will name it BG. Click OK. I will drag it down below and then go to effects and preset. I will add gradient ramp. Change the start color here. I will go to my notepad and copy this code. Paste it in here. Click OK. I will change the ramp shape here to radial ramp. Then move this anchor point at the center. And also this anchor point here, I will drag it down. So all I have to do is to change the end color here. And I will go again to my notepad and copy this code. And paste it in here. Highlight this light leak. I will pre-compose it to make it procedural. Move all the attributes into the new composition. Click OK. And also these particles, I will right click my mouse and I will pre-compose it. Move all the attributes into the new composition and click OK. I will change the blending mode here to add. So all I have to do is to create a new composition and I will name it final. 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second and 10 seconds duration. Click OK. I will go to my project panel and I will drop down this main into my timeline, preview it. So this is what we got. So now guys, our tutorial has been done, and I hope that I will be able to help you with this. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and press the notification bell so that you will not miss if I have videos to upload. My thoughts for the day, guys, that learning is earning. Thank you very much guys for watching, and I hope to see you on my next video tutorial. See you guys. God bless.